Hello, my beautiful friends. I hope you're all doing well amongst the chaos that seems to be happening. But it is another day. And today I was listening to a friend vent to me. I try to put myself out there as an open ear to all my friends and even to complete strangers and just let them vent to me because I know what it's like. I had many a venting day in my time. But as my friend was venting to me, telling me how everybody seems to hate her, and how nothing ever goes her way, or how she just can't seem to get ahead, I was sitting there listening, and it kind of hit me, as it has before, that this isn't just about one person's struggle. If you look around the world right now, the wars, the violence, the protests in the streets, people at each other's throats, pretty much all day, every day, whether online or offline, unfortunately. But underneath of it all, it's the same root cause. And that cause is that we can't seem to get out of our own way. As individuals, as groups, as nations, we just keep letting our own inner battles spill out into the world. And as she was talking, I caught myself kind of muttering under my own breath, well, we are our own worst enemies. She heard me. And she looked at me and she said, well, what do you mean by that? And so I explained it to her. And now I'm going to explain it to you. If you're a Real Talk listener, then you've heard me say this more than once. And that is, the only thing that's holding you back is you. And I know that sounds simple. Too simple at times, and maybe even arrogant. But sometimes the simplest truth is the one that we run from the hardest. See, we're real good at building our own prisons. We don't even need anyone else to do it for us. Brick by brick, we stack up our doubts, our fears, our guilt. We let our ego sit in the warden's chair telling us who we are and what we can't do. You're not good enough. You're broken. You'll fail again, just like last time. You know that voice. I know you do. Because I sure as hell do. And that's the reason why we connect on these videos. For years, I let it run my life. And even long after I stopped drinking, that voice, it didn't go away. Because alcohol wasn't the problem. I was. I was the one feeding that voice, letting it grow fat off my shame. I was fighting myself while blaming the entire world. If you're new to the channel, I've said this before too. 4 years ago, 5 years ago, I wouldn't be on YouTube trying to help whoever this helps. If it helps nobody, it helps nobody. But I wouldn't have been doing this because 10 years ago, I wouldn't have given two craps about any of this. If you had walked up to me and said, oh yeah, read this book by Eckhart Tolle, I would have slapped you upside the head and told you to get the hell away from me. That's who I was. That's what I was. I was the one feeding that voice, letting it grow fat off my shame. I was fighting myself, again, while blaming the world. It wasn't my fault. It was that guy's fault. It was her fault. It was the government's fault. It was this system's fault. That system's fault. But here's the thing that nobody wants to hear. Most of your problems, they don't come from other people. They come from the stories that you keep telling yourself. The ones that you repeat so often they become your truth. You think your boss is holding you back? Wrong. You think your childhood is still controlling you? Wrong. You think your ex ruined your life? Wrong. What's holding you back is you. I'm sorry for the tough love, but somebody gave it to me, thankfully. And this doesn't just apply to your career or your money or your relationships or some of the other things going on in your everyday experience. This hits you just as hard on your spiritual walk. Because to grow, to really grow, you have to face the ugliest parts of yourself. It's that whole shadow work thing. Out of all the spiritual woo-woo, the shadow work thing is a definite. It is something that you have to do. You don't have to do it by any of the silly videos that are out there or any of the books that tell you. You can do it however you want. But what I'm saying is you have to do it. Doesn't mean you got to do it by some way that people say. But you got to, like I've said in other videos or other talks, you've got to sit down with yourself and you've got to embrace it. You got to let it come in and you got to say, let's talk. Let's get this over with. And once you do that, you need to know something. Your ego hates that because the ego loves the illusion of control. It'll tell you, I'm spiritual enough. I've forgiven enough. I've done enough healing. I've meditated. I've gone to this retreat. I read 100 books. I'm all set. I'm better than that guy because I know more about spirituality than he does. So I'm going to leave a nasty comment. Sorry, I had to stick that one in there. But that's the thing. Right there. Your ego tells you all that. And you get stuck. You stop. Not because your walk stopped. Because you stopped. How many times have you talked yourself out of something beautiful? Something meaningful in your life? A new relationship? Because you're not ready. A dream or a goal because what if I fail? A moment of joy because you felt you didn't deserve it. That's your own worst enemy talking. That's not the universe testing you. That's not bad luck. That's you playing small because it feels safer than stepping into the unknown. You have to step into the unknown, my friends. Listen, I'm not saying this to beat you up. I'm saying this because, one, I love you, and two, I lived it. And I still fight it every damn day. But I learned something powerful. When I finally got out of my own way, this life experience opened up to me. Now, that didn't happen overnight, and it definitely wasn't easy, but it opened. And as it opened, I started to see things more clearly, not about only myself, but also everything going on around me. Everything that was being observed by myself, by my true self. And I started to realize that I didn't need to let things bother me so much. I didn't need to let myself bother me, but I also didn't need to worry so much about what goes on in the external, because in reality, I have no control over it. I can shed tears, and I can still feel for others. But I've realized now, by talking to myself and asking myself, how can we resolve this? That the path lights up, and you can walk in that light. I encourage all of you to ask yourself, what is really holding me back? I've said it before, you got to go within. You got to do that work. I didn't want to do it either, but you have to. I'm going to leave you all with this. The only thing that is holding you back is you. But the only one who can set you free is you. I love you all. Walk in light.